Hey guys, it's Friday night, and guess what? More development. Okay, now if any of you guys was watching earlier, you will have watched as we added heliport symbols, or at least we were trying to get one, and now we actually have it working properly. And there goes our robot running down the road. Okay, and we now have a series of drones and heliports marked where they land and take off from, etc. etc. So we can have a look at that by basically apparently not doing that, but anyway. So one can see from this our heliport nice and clearly. That's looking good. And now we can start thinking about actually loading up our drones and deciding, where we start the drones, etc. etc. So let's have a look at that in actual fact. That's maybe something we can have a look at. So we can stop that for now. Now I'm wondering where we actually do the spawning of the drones, and I'm going to have a guess and say we actually do it on the player base, right? So let's have a look. Okay, so that's the landing pads, and there's our drones, right? So we're doing for each, which isn't correct. Right. So what we can do here is kind of stop this, or kind of not actually. Right? Because what we want to do in this instance is we're not going to say landing pads, okay? In this case, we're not going to say landing pads because basically we don't want 6 drones to start with, right? So we've started off and we're going to have a fun night where we're just going to play about with peripheral things, but things change and we've suddenly decided that we want to do something a bit more serious and take things forward, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a function, right? And it's going to be called get number of drones, okay? And this is going to return an integer, and this is going to be number of drones, and we're going to make that an integer. We'll save that. Now I don't know if I'm going to pass anything in yet, but what we're going to have to do here is check for, right, we're going to have to go to the event graph and we're going to delete that, and we're going to do the usual stuff. Okay, so we're going to get player controller, drag this back a bit, give it some space here. Right, okay, and then we cast to FE controller. Now we are going to change this about a bit once we've done this, but we'll get it working in a sort of standard mode first. So we're going to say as FE controller, we promote this to variable. Okay, and we just actually we've already got that. So where is this getting set is the question. Apparently we're not setting it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to set this, and it's going to be the FE controller, right? And we can basically delete that. And then, right, then get number of drones. Okay. Then we can go back into here and we can say FE. No, we want to get a controller. Want to get a controller. Then instance. Then research. Then we're going to say for each. Now we could put a break in this, but it would have to be only for like probe 3. Okay. Right, so we're going to have to do that. Then we're going to have to break. Then in. We're looking for an in string, can't remember what it's called. Is it find? Find substring. So we're going to search in there and we're going to look for probe. Okay, and in here what we're going to do is we're going to create a local variable called temp drones, and that's going to be an integer, right? And we're going to set it to actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to set it to default is going to be 1. Right, I'm actually not going to set that there. I'm going to leave it to the default to do it. So that's 1, compile that, right? Then at the end of this, we need our return. So that's going to go there, and then that's going to go to there. Right, now if it's got a probe, right, we're going to do something. Alright, so if that equals so if that is not equal to -1, i.e. probe is in there, right, then we're going to branch off this. Okay. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing again. Right, now we're looking at research items, right? So the thing that we want to do is have a look at the actual research items. And these are in here. And it's I. Right. So this actually is kind of crap. Now, but we can kind of do this. We can check the research level, right? Okay, so that's good. We can check research level. So we can do that. Then we can switch so we can delete this. We're going to add a pin. Right, and we just want 1, 2, and 3 basically. Apparently we can't take that one out, not to worry. Right. So basically what we do is we say if temp is less than if it's less than 2, right, we branch it. And then if that is true, it's false. Yeah, so if that is less than 2, we set it to 2. Okay, fundamentally that's what we do. Right, and then we do the same thing again. Duplicate that. Now this is just us taking care of whether or not it does it in the wrong order. If it does it in the wrong order, this will still work. And then finally, we duplicate that. And that goes to 6 and 6. Okay, and we save that. Okay. So it looks like we're going to have to also do some sort of a thing for this as well, where we can do this as rewards, so it's going to update on the fly, right? So we'll save that. But it should work for our initial right, so we've got that. And then what we do is we go back to our event graph. Right, now what we could do actually is do that, and then we could drag this over to here. Right, we can put that there. And then we don't do a for each. Hi, Ali Pie and good vibes. What are you attempting? Are you trying to search in a database for inventory? No, that's done. What I'm doing is I am setting up how many drones you have to begin with, and then getting ready to set it up that when you have researched a new level of drones, then you will basically get a new drone or 2 new drones or whatever it is that the reward gives you. Okay, so we need a for loop. Just a standard for loop's good. Right. And I'm gonna have to change this slightly. So we're going to be doing this, but what we're going to be doing off of this is getting a copy. So we get copy, and we're going to be pulling off the index here and we're going to be putting that there, and we're going to be putting that there, and then that's going to join off there, and then this is going to get deleted. Then this is going to go in here, drag it off up a bit out of the way, and this is going to go over here a bit, so we'll drag that down, and we are going to be doing the number of drones minus 1. Minus 1. Well, minus integer. And that is going to go in there. That is going to go in there. And that should be us. Right. So rather than having all 6 drones at the start of the game, you ain't going to have all 6 drones at the start of the game. You're going to have 1. And then you're going to have to open up things. And there you go. 1 drone. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is here, it's not going to work. Well, it is going to work, but we're going to have to do a research tree, and we're going to have to do probe. Okay? And then this is going to have to do research. And then we're going to have to join everything up as usual. Right. Okay, we'll spin this around. And we can join this up. Okay. And then we basically do this. And then once we've done this, it's not going to update it on the fly yet, right? But once we I'm just wondering what we need to do the probes. I'm just hoping that this is the right thing. Right, there goes the first bit of so we're going to have a look. Yeah, it's doing it. Oh, it takes a lot. Oh well, that's fine. It does take a lot. By the way, guys, I am on 398 subscribers, so you can be the one to push me over the 400 mark if you so desire. I would much appreciate it, of course, but it's entirely your choice. So this takes a little while because it's a probe one. Now, as I mentioned, it isn't going to do it yet. Like, there isn't going to be suddenly another one pops up here, right? But when it does it, when we restart the game, it should be there. How? How, Alipie? Don't understand what that means in context to what we're saying. Anyway, so we've got this and it's researching. Every one of these things that go in there is basically putting us up a certain percentage. So if you want a description, Alipie, here's what is happening here. We'll slow it down so nothing exceptional happens. We have a miner. The miner is mining bauxite. The bauxite is going to a refiner. The refiner is turning the bauxite into iron ore. Then it's going into a smelter. The smelter is turning the iron ore into an iron sheet. Right? The iron sheet is going into a fabricator, and that's turning it into a research type 1 flask. Then the research flask is going into a research station, and the research station processes it and turns it into a certain amount of research for the thing that you are actually researching. Okay, so that's what is happening at the moment. Okay. So we can speed up again. Research, that's still going up. I'm going to have to turn that down because it's a bit bleeding ridiculous. How many am I actually expecting to get made here? Thank you very much, Alipie, that's very kind of you. Right. It's one of those things, rock and hard place, you know. I could stop it and turn the number down, but then I'd have to build it all again, and I'm as well just waiting now till it does it and then stopping. And then basically it'll save, and then I can start it and there should be 2 here, right? Either way, I'm going to turn the amount of research required for this. Right, so I'm just wondering, 130, right, okay, so I turned that right up so that would be millions of, I wouldn't run out, put it that way. Ah, there's a thing we could do. While we're at it, we could always do a stats. Wow, that's weird. Right, that's more like it. I think I know why that is. I think it's because it's loading in a saved game that's kind of got kind of corrupted data in it. And obviously the older one won't. But yeah, production graphs are us. Okay, so that's all fine. Where are we as far as research goes? Right, we're just about done. We're on to about our last one. There we go. Right, so that's now complete. Alright, don't know why I did that. Yeah, okay. Okay. This is a save game issue. This is because I've saved the game and it's not quite right. I've saved it over the top of itself and it's some weird data. Right, so what I'll do is I'll stop that. And now what I think is going to happen if I've coded that right is... Darn it. That should have came up with 2. There's a squad of robots running. Right, okay, well, there's that. So let's check this out, I suppose. And let's see what number comes out of here. Now, I'm expecting this to say 1. Right, but this could still be... It says 0. Okay. So, let's have a look in here and see what's going on. Right, there's something going on here. It's not finding... Well, I'm guessing it's not finding the probe, right? So, I'm going to guess that it never gets to here. Okay, there's something not quite right. Yeah. So I can only assume now, right? I can only assume that this wasn't saved. Right? Now, I don't think that it's saved that. Now we have got, yeah, that's not right. Well, that's right, because we haven't got a current, because we finished the other one, right? But it did not save it. It certainly did not save it. Okay, right, so we need, so I'm not 100% sure why it didn't save, whether it was, it's because of the, right, we'll do it the old fashioned way. We'll start a new game and we'll say probe, okay, that, we're going to resume it, resume, right, and what we'll do is right, okay. It's not doing it because I've not got enough drones. I've only got one drone. So it should do it there, but I'm not surprised it doesn't. Right, okay, whatever. Right, let's fix that, because it's going to have to get fixed anyway. Okay, so when I hit the probe button, we're going to do, it's in the grid. Right, so I think it's in here. Right, but that's not it. Right, so that's not it. I think it's in Octogrid. Right, it's in here. This is the problem here. Right. So if that available drones right, okay. So this should not be greater than, right? This should actually be greater than or equal to. I'm going to go for that. It's not ideal. I'm going to need to redo the logic on this. Right, because it was expected that you had like a shit ton of drones to start with and not just one. Right, so you would start off with your 6 drones and it would only stop you doing a new probe if there weren't enough drones that weren't actually doing anything. Right, so when we do this, we can actually look at this, right? So this should work now if, and only if, we can resume that. Right, so if we do our probe now, right, because we're going to have to change the logic. Oh, damn it. We're going to have to change the logic on this. Right, but it actually begins to add to the gameplay. Right, so there we go. So we have 1 and we have 1. So that's going to do it. There we go. Right. So I do still remember some of my code. And it's bauxite, which is quite good. Right, so next thing we can do is we can build out our buildings. Right, then we can have a research building there. Spin that around and we'll set it to iron ore, that one to iron sheet, that one to research, and this one we don't set it like that, right? We actually set it in the research tree, so we click on that, and I forgot to change it like a right complete idiot. So it's still going to need an absolute crap ton. I suppose we could save that, right? And stop it. And then what we can do is we can go into our research data table, look at our research requirements, and we can change the process time. Right, we're changing that because it required 50, right? So we'll change that down to 10, 10. So this shouldn't take anywhere near as long. Right? So we can basically start this again, continue, and resume. Right? These will take a second to become active again. check that, that's okay. Check this one, that's okay. Research, we're researching that, but we obviously haven't done any yet because we haven't started. So basically we do that. Then we set up lots of workers, hit the button a lot of times. Then we can start joining this up. And this shouldn't take us anywhere near as long this time. And we'll see if it saves. And we'll also hit the save button just for a laugh. Right, so we'll speed that up. And this shouldn't take anywhere near as long. Right, you'll see the stuff coming out here. Right, and that's it, stuff beginning to come in. There's one away. Only need 10. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. 5. 6. And if we check this, what's going on there? Something weird going on there. Ah, it saved it. Damn it, that's right, it saves the number that you require. It doesn't when you... Right, here's the thing, right? It loads the defaults from the data table, right? But then it immediately saves it. And then when it's saving, it automatically updates the current thing you've got. Right, so this is still going to be set to needing 50. Right, so I'm afraid we're just going to have to wait. I mean, I don't know, probably would be faster to redo the whole thing, but hey ho. I'll tell you what, while it's doing that, I'm going to go and grab a cigarette, so don't go anywhere. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'll slow this down. It'll continue going, obviously, but don't go anywhere, guys. I shall be back in a moment or two. Okay, I just answered that question with my mic off. The game's called Fabrica Espace, which is basically Space Factory. Right, so, yeah, we're halfway there, but we're not living on a prayer. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Right, so, and by the way, we're on 399 subscribers. Oh, the excitement of it. Can I hit 400 tonight? Right, so that's gradually going up. This is actually quite good because this is going to show you how long it actually takes to do something. But obviously you'll be building other things and doing other stuff. There's obviously going to be rocket launchers and all sorts of stuff, right? But we are basically building up our product at the moment. Right, I could normally be a bit more witty than that, but you know, you've got to take the jokes where they come. I'll show you something else, by the way, right? That's quite cool about this, that people won't realise that this is quite advanced for what it does, right? I don't know how advanced you think it is at the moment, but these buildings are semi-intelligent, right? So, and I'll show you what I mean by that when the time arises. So the time is going to arise fairly soon, right? Now, what's going to happen is this is going to finish, right? And then the input of this is going to fill up. Then once it's filled up, it's going to send a message to this one, which is the supplier, to say, please stop sending me stuff because I'm full, right? And then basically what's going to happen is this is going to build up. Then this is going to tell the input of this to say, hey, whoa, I don't need any more. Then this is going to fill up. And then this is going to say, I'm full, I don't need any more. And it's going to send the message back to say, don't send me any more. And then the same thing is going to happen all the way along the line until we get to the miner. And the miner will get told as well to say, hey, I'm full, don't send me any more stuff. Right, so you'll basically see that happening in a minute. I don't know why that is happening with the research, but I think it's something to do with the time dilation, because I've got a time dilation. Hey, Conan, Jimeno, how are you doing, bud? So what's going to happen here is basically this is going to keep getting sent, right? And then what will happen is this is going to basically say, hey, don't send me any more, please. And I don't know why it's doing that, by the way. I don't know if it's because of the weird... Let me check on that. It doesn't do it with any of the other ones. It's a bit bizarre, but anyway. Right, so what we're doing is we're waiting to see for this to happen, right? I honestly don't know why it's doing that. That's really bizarre. And it's really strange as well why right, so it's still sending stuff. Now, I know that the probe is slightly different, but it still shouldn't be doing that, right? So there's a bug somewhere. So what I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to say research mining. Yeah, the time dilation is screwing this up, right? Because that should have disappeared as well. And now it won't slow, it won't. Can you go away? Can you stop doing that, please? Right, we're gonna have to stop it. Right, we're gonna have to start it again because I want to see how many drones we now have. Right. So that still says 0. Don't ask me why. Because I have no freaking idea. Huh. So this is in struct research items. All right. Now let's, right, we've got our breakpoint there, right? Oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. So it never gets to there. It never gets to here, right? So that must mean there's something wrong here, right? So there it's there. Controller instance. It says variable not in scope. Then if we step over, right? Give me a second. It never goes there. Right, so this kind of means that that's nothing. Right, okay, I kind of know how to fix this, I think. If I say delay, and I probably can't put a delay on this. No, actually I should have been able to. No, I can't put a delay on a function, don't be stupid. Right. What we can do here is, yeah, I got it, don't worry, I've got it. Right, we're going to put a delay of 0.25 seconds there, right, so that the controllers, so it's got time to basically get the controller set up. In fact, I should probably put the delay before this part. Yeah, let's do that. I'm just thinking here, is the save game screwing this up? I don't think so. But we can find out. Sometimes you need to depending on what things are loading in and at what time, you have to put a little delay on so it's got time to load up the first things first that you need. So you'll stick a delay on the stuff that you don't need immediately, right? And just in case they're not set up yet. Right, so there's our loop. Step over. There we go. There we go. No problemo. And this should say not that. What? It's got freaking 6. Are you joking me? Oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah, that's exactly what it should say. Because I'm a fool. I'm a fool. Right. I didn't check if it's complete. Right, so I've got to check that this is complete. So equals enum that complete. Right, and we'd stick another branch on it. We could do an and with that, but we'll keep it simple at the moment. Right, so we only do this if it's complete. We basically ignore it otherwise, right? So play, go, resume, resume. Why does that say 0? Why does that say 0? That's weird. So we shall add a breakpoint and we'll run it again. I have got the patience of a saint. Right, so step over. So it's not equal to that, right? So our value is that. Let's see what the name is. Can we? No, we can't. Apparently we can't. So we step over, and is it complete? True. So that's true. And what we got for nint? Well, I think we're going to have to step over again to find out. And apparently we didn't have anything. Now I was expecting that. Right, so we're going to add the breakpoint, add a breakpoint, add the breakpoint, and this research level should give us the number that we want. So what we're saying is there was definitely one of them was true, right? But the integer was not. So I'll tell you what, we'll do the old one, the old way, which we always do, which is print string. Right. Bang that out. We'll do 30 seconds. And we'll do it in dark blue. No, we'll do it in light green. Okay, that. Then that number is going to go in there. Right. And we'll run it again, and we'll just get it to step over because I want to see what that actually is. Resume. Resume. So we have our thing. We step over and it's true. And it says our research level is 0. Right? Now, why would that be? Is the answer, or is the question. So I'm going to have to look at this, right? And this says 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. These are all integers, right? So there's no reason why any of these would bring me back a 0. Okay, unless we're pulling somehow from here, which we're not, because this is a completely different struct. Okay, so this is the correct struct, and we've got a research level, and this is an integer, right? But for some unknown reason, this is our thing here. So struct research items, and research level is definitely an integer. And I mean, unless it's set to default, right, which I can't really see it being that, unless in, right, the only thing I can see here is if our game instance is using a different struct or something, right? Or when I pass the struct over, it's not passing the research level for whatever reason. Now, that's a possibility because I might have added the research level in later, and that's why it's not there, right? But if we look at the game instance, right, here's our struct items, and it's using struct research items. So that's absolutely spot on. Okay? So, just to show my detective skills on my own bloody game, right, we are going to go into our research widgets, and we look at research button. And I don't know why that's there, but we're not going to, it's not that. It's not that at all. Okay. So which one's the research button? Oh, it's in a research tree. Right, so let's go again. Research button, research tree. Right, we're going to do that. I don't know why it keeps showing me the sequencer. I had it open earlier, but now what we need to do is not that. Event graph. Right, when we're building a research tree, right, there's our thing there, and we create a research button. Right, so is this one? Right, it just looks kind of different. Look at that. Told you. Right, now this must be somewhere else as well. When you complete the research, it must update this. Right, so I'm guessing. No, that actually isn't it. This when you complete it, it just sets it to complete. Because it's been all set up in the other place, it should be fine. Right? Right, so we're going to say that's good to go. Right, famous last words, of course, as with anything. So we're going to have to start a new game, and we'll call it, right, anybody get the Rush reference there? Right, so that's good. And now we need to do our probie thing, and this isn't going to work unless we get like a 1, and then even then oh damn it, I knew I was going to do that. As soon as I got a 1, I moved away from it. Resume. Resume. Right. So, back to this. It's surprisingly therapeutic doing this 100 million times. And we're doing that. Spin it round. Spin that round. And hopefully it is boxing. Right, so what we can do is we can save that. Right. And this time it shouldn't take so long, because now that we've done a new game, it's going to take the original values and do the right thing. Then we can hit that a few times to speed things up a bit. And did I set the research? I did not. And that's it set. And now, more simple. What's more simple? Right, so that's piling it in, piling it out. Right, this is going like a thing that's going fast. Right, so you'll see this time, you know, it's going a lot quicker. There you go, it's going up a lot quicker. And once it's done this, what I'll do is I'll show you another couple of things in the game that you haven't seen yet, because I'm too busy concentrating on this. And there we go. Let's pull it down. And now, I still don't know why it's doing that for the... What? Make it more simple. I don't want to be doing that. Right, we'll close that. We've started more research, right? Now, the interesting thing is, if we save that now, right? Now, as I said, this isn't going to update on the fly, right? But if we stop it and then we start it, we should get the right number this time, right? Right, so we should get that, we should get that, and then this time we should get a 1. That's correct, right? So now we should actually get this set to 2, because this is going to be less than 2, so it's going to set it to 2, right? Then it's going to jump past there, and it's going to say I'm not complete. Then it's going to jump to 2. This is going to be 1 now. How's it 1? How's it 0? How's that? I don't get it. Okay, we're going to have to stop that. Right. We're going to add breakpoint, right? Now we know it definitely sets it to 2, right? So we're going to disable that, we're going to disable that, and we know it comes in here. It's a difficult question to answer, it depends. If you've got no game development is easy, right? The impression that the likes of the new game engines, like for example, or the latest game engines, let's say Unreal Engine, let's say Unity, let's say Godot, let's say whatever, they all advertise as if you can basically make a game without any kind of like programming knowledge or game development knowledge or any knowledge of whatever, right? And it's just simply not true, right? Now, whether it makes it easier, then yes, it does. Makes everything a hell of a lot easier. But it doesn't make it easy, because it was never easy to begin with. Okay? So we're setting temp drones to 2, right? Which is exactly what we did. Now, when we come down to here, this should be 2. Which it is, right? So if we step over, get drones should be 2, which it is. Then should we come in here and it says 0. 2 minus 1 is not 0. What on earth? Well, C# ain't going to help you. If you want to stick with using a language, then C# is for Unity, right? Unity uses C#. Unreal Engine uses C++, which is completely different. Well, okay, it's not completely different because most languages have a core that's kind of the same, but there's a lot of difference between C# and C++, right? Because I've used C# as well, and I've only done a tiny bit of C++, and C++ is kind of a different fish altogether. Right, but I don't understand why this basically is saying from 0 to... Right. Unity is C#, yeah. That worked. Look, we've got 2 drones. So that worked. I don't know why it was coming out and saying, like, 2 minus 1 is 0, but it actually wasn't saying that, even though it kind of was. Right? So it was kind of lying to me. Right, and this is where the save game kind of mucks up if I save it at the wrong time, because it goes to crap. Right. We'll disable that. I mean, it just depends what you want to do, right? You can do it all in blueprints, right? But the way it's supposed to be done is both. You're supposed to use blueprints and C++. And what you're supposed to do is write it or prototype it in blueprints, and then convert the code from blueprints to C++, right? Now, that isn't always necessary, because obviously if you have absolutely no problems with frame rate and performance, then why bother, right? But it does make it faster. Right, I've got some C++ in here, right? Not a lot, but there is. Like, I'll show you, right? If I do this, right, and I say round, right, you'll see that this is C++ helper. And that's like a C++ class that I wrote. It gives me functions that I can actually do in C++. So these are handled in C++. Right? And that's kind of how you're supposed to do it. Except you would create... Okay, let's go a step further, since you're the only guy here, I suppose. Let's go a step further. You will notice, right, that this is a parent... The player base has a parent class of BP based building, right? So that's a blueprint, okay? But if I then go to the blueprint for base building and I double click on that, you'll notice the parent class is CPP basic building, right? So normally what I do is if I'm going to create a new class or a new blueprint, right, I will create a blank C++ class first. Then I'll parent the blueprint to the C++ class. Right? Now, because it's blank, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't do anything. Right? But it makes it easy for me to move across calculations or functions or whatever I'm doing. Right? So, for example, if I had a function here, right, like set building name, right, I could set up the function and change it over to the C++ class, right? Now, where Epic say that it becomes useful is, let's say this here, right? This has got hardly any nodes, okay? Not very many nodes. So in effect, changing this to C++ would not gain much efficiency, right? But something with a lot of nodes that's doing a lot of calculations, and let's say a lot of loops or whatever, might be a good candidate for moving that function into C++, right? I mean, I don't really have an awful lot that's doing that type of thing, right? I tend to keep my functions as compact as possible, right? And that one isn't even plugged in, so let's get rid of that, right? And that's not doing anything, so let's get rid of that as well. Right, so I'm not overly using a lot of nodes, but if I was using like a lot of calculations, right, then Blueprints is kind of crappy for that. It uses a heck of a lot more pins to do like simple addition and checking if something's greater than or less than or whatever. So you could basically write this into a function, like set and return true or false. If it's greater than, pass in the value and then set the value and get the true and false out, and that would be one pin instead of 4, right? So that's kind of the way that you're supposed to run with it, right? As I said, I do it. Like I've not done it in a while. I tend to take fits and starts where I'll do some C++ stuff. Like here, return rounded mouse location, right? This is in the C++ helper. So this is like a function that I pass in a grid size, the controller, and then basically I do a crap ton of calculations and then I return a vector, right? And then this is return rounded vector, and this does just calculations then passes back a vector. Rounded grid does kind of the same thing. All of these just pass back a vector, right? But it's different ways of doing the calculation, right? But it's all done in C++, right? This is one that calculates what direction an arrow is facing, right? And just gives me a forward vector and then changes it to enum. Right? So, but for most of it, for example, if we were to look at CPP based building, right, and the H version, then you'll notice that there's nothing in it, right? These are just functions that are basically default functions, right? But they don't do anything, right? And if we go into the CPP file, you'll notice it doesn't do anything, right? None of these do anything. This super is basically run it on the parent, right? Right, so that is basically the equivalent of you see, this won't have, or maybe it will, but if we go back to the previous one, which was where was it? It's not that. It's not that. Yeah, this, right? If we go back to this, right, you'll see it here. Right, see this here, where it says parent begin play? This is the equivalent of super in C++, right? So basically what that is just calling this, right? But it doesn't actually do anything, right? And here's the H file with all the definition of the different functions, right? But if we look at CPP build-in, right, you'll notice that it just says super, which is basically the equivalent of parent. Okay? Anyway, that's the way I do it. But what I do is, if I'm creating a new blueprint that I think I'm going to maybe need C++ stuff, I just create a C++ class first, and then I make the blueprint and parent it to the C++ class, right? And then it's there if I want to use it. And if I don't want to use it, I don't need to use it. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything until you tell it to do something. I have got another game that I was working on. It was just basically a practice for doing some C++ stuff, and it was just basically Arkanoid, where I did a lot of it in C++, just to practice doing it. But as I said, most of these classes are all empty. It's just me creating the classes for later if I want to use it or not. Why is that not closing down? Oh, out of sight, out of mind, right? So anyway, so as I said, those classes that you just saw there, right? If I do this, this was the functions that I was calling, which was the C++ helper class, these ones here. These are all the functions you saw, right? And there you have it. Okay, so our probes are now working as we saw, because we've got two. And because we have finished our probe 1, because we finished probe 1, then we're good. We're researching mining, right? So we could speed that up actually, right? I've probably not even got probe set up, probe 2 set up, to be fair. Let's have a look. And DT. Oh yeah, I have. Oh no, that's probe 2. Yeah, we can actually do that. Right, okay, we can do it. That's cool. Right, how much have we done? Right, that's complete in actual fact. Right, don't ask me why it didn't come up, but as I said, it's probably something to do with the fact that I've saved it out of order. This is now going. And there we go, right? So if we stop it and we run it again, we should have 4 drones. And there we go. 4 drones. 2, 3, 4. And now we can do like a 4 drone sweep. Right? We can undo that. Resume. And off they should go. And there we go. Right. So one of the things that you haven't seen is like this, where you've got inventory and you've got crafting. Right. Now I need to do something about crafting actually, because it's going to be coming up in here and it's going to be far too big. But what you can do is you can like right click to do 5, right? Or you can left click to like do 1. Then if you click again, it'll add it to that. And then if you add that, it's going to do a new set because there's these in between. Now the thing you can do is, why can't I thought I could remove them. I should have been able to remove them. Alright, I used to be able to remove these. Alright, I'll need to check the code on that. But yeah, you see them popping up here now on the in hand. But then if I don't want them, I can just drag them into the trash and that'll disappear. Right? And the other thing you can do is, the reason, you must be wondering what this ship is for, right? Well, it's there for a reason. And the reason is that the ship is down here somewhere. Here, right? And the ship, you can only trade with it when it comes into land or when it's landed, right? So this tells you when it's landed, right? Otherwise, if you were building up here, you wouldn't know, right? So then what you can do is you can trade with the ship and buy and sell stuff, right? Okay? So that's another thing you can do. And that was finished ages ago, so I don't know why it's having a fit with that, but right, so the other thing you can do is you can swap this toolbar, this hotbar. Now you'll notice that this has actually added something, right? And what you can do is, if I wanted to swap this with this, all I do is right click, hold it and drag it over there. and it moves this on the hotbar, right? Okay. And also what I can do is, now this is going to be another button, but this brings up hotbar settings, right? So say I wanted another button to do the research station, right? I can drag this onto here. Okay. That should have worked. Let's try this. Right, that's okay. Okay, the research station I haven't set up yet. That's what must be the problem. Right, but you get the idea. And then you've got the buttons along the bottom, the numbers. Right, so you'll notice 3 is J and 0 is V, right? And that's because what you can do is you can go to the options, key bindings, and then come down to the hotbar settings. You'll notice 3 is J, but I can turn that back to 3. Right? And then I can set this back to 0. And that's it done. Right? And then if we continue, you'll notice that the hotbar is now updated. It's now 0, 1, 2, it's now 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. So basically the player can configure the hotbar however they want. Right? Okay? And if you click on this, it's going to give you information. Right? And this is where things get interesting. Because I can change the colours here. Right? What I can do is I can stop it, right? And when you're in your options, you can go to game colours, right? And you can select the button colour. So let's say I want the mouse over to be red, and I want the normal colour to be, let's say, purpley. Right, you'll know it shows you what it is. Right? Then you can do that, okay that, and there's the buttons change. Right? So you can do the setup of the, your UI yourself. So as well as that, you can actually set up like your information screens. So I can set the border color to be, let's say, red, and then I can have the title color to be green. That's this part here. And then I can set the text to be yellow, which is these parts here. And then I can change the color of this button to be, let's say, purple. And then I can change the blur strength. So like I can set it to clear. And then I can back that. And that's all saved. And now when I go into that, right, I'm going to have to set up the hotbar. But yeah, so all these are changed. And now if I click on that, this is because I need to save the game. Right, I need to do that for the start of the game. It's a weird bug that it's because I'm swapping out between save games and stuff like that, right? But basically, if I stop that, right, and then I set this up, right, you'll notice that it's still set up the same. And then I say new game, right, and I'm hoping this will work. I don't know which order I have to do this in, but can't exactly remember. But we'll soon see. But there you go. You see it's all different colour now. All these are different colours. This part's different colour, the edge is different colour. You'll notice that it's completely see-through, right? So just to show you what I'm talking about here, if I press play, go to options, game colours, then I change the blur strength to be full, and I can't remember what this is, build and select. Right, that's no longer actually used, so this is going to probably change to hotbar. Right, then we go back and we continue. Then we didn't save the game, so we're going to have to build that again. So while we're waiting on that, Ali, and I'm probably going to finish after this, but if you check the description, you're welcome to join my Discord, and you'll find other links in there for my previous game, which, if you wouldn't mind to add to your wish list on Steam. And there's also a Patreon there as well. You'll notice now that the blur is up to full strength. That's actually not full strength, but that's like the highest value I would say that's actually useful, right? So you can change all these colours. And what we can do is, you'll notice that, I don't know if I'm going to keep this yet, but I'm adding some workers, and you'll now notice that the worker thing goes up, right? So we're gradually going up. I'm pressing a button that adds workers, by the way, and then we're up to full, and that shows you we're at overall efficiency 100%, right? We haven't selected a thing there, but now we have, 1 second, we're at current workers 12, which is the maximum, and overall efficiency is 100%. Right, you can rename the building as well to anything you like, so you can call this like ref 1, and then you've got, like, your buildings are called individual things. Right, so if I was to save that and stop it and press play again, I don't know if I've ever checked this, to be honest. Hey Jameson, you've missed all the fun. Right, you'll notice it's now ref 1. Okay, now the thing is here that you'll notice we're at 1 drone. So the thing we've done tonight, Jameson, is we've set it up so that the rewards for for research are set now. Right, so if you do probe 1, probe 2 and probe 3, you get more and more drones. Okay, so I can show you, maybe, if I can pick the right one. Right, if we load game, I think it's this one. I don't know if it's this one or not. No, it's not. Okay, we'll try and pick another one. We'll go for this one. It might be actually probe. No, it's not. It might be YYZ. Yeah. You'll see here we've already done 2 researches, and we've now got 4 probes. Which means that you can now do a 4 probe thing here. Right, you'll notice that if it's more than 4, you can't do it, right? It doesn't let you do it. But if it's a 4, then it lets you do it, right? And there you go. So that's all working nicely. And by the way, guys, we're on 399 subscribers, so if there's anybody there that wants to hit that button and get me to 400, I would appreciate it greatly. Right. Yeah, there is something there. I've got no idea what that is, but it's something. I don't know if I've hit. I've not checked. Right, I can check just now. Right, give me a second. I'm going to have to refresh it. Yay! We're on 400. Excellent. Well, thanks guys for getting me there. That's excellent. No, you can't sub twice. Well, you could. If you've got another account, you could. But I wouldn't ask you to do that anyway. It kind of defeats the purpose, you know. Right. Anyway, as I said, I'm heading for the night. Jameson, if you're up for something, give me a shout. I'm going to take the dog for a walk. And check out the description. Join the Discord. There's other ways to support the channel. And I shall see you tomorrow at 2 PM Central, where I shall be streaming again. And I'll try and think of something. Well, I don't know if the weekend's a good time to work. Well, actually, I did some work tonight. It wasn't just a play about tonight. We got this drone thing working, where you've got a different number of drones and they're spawning. So, there's that. Anyway, I shall see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye for now.